What's going on, YouTube world and YouTube tribe? Welcome back to LilBigMan Gaming, bringing you a review for a Friday night Smackdown. I guess you could call this like the true season premiere. I mean, they already had a season premiere, but this is like the true season premiere because this is the actual first day of the new roster, which I don't know why they did it like that, but that's okay. So they started off with Roman Reigns, and Roman basically comes out, do his little entrance, and he comes out and he basically asks Paul, is he holding the title? Cause I think at the top of the ramp where he usually take the title from Paul and raise it up in the air to do his pyro part of his intro. Instead of taking the title from Paul, because Paul did try to present him with the title, but then he just goes like holding his hand up saying the ones, and then that's what it does, his pyro. So this plays into this where he asked Paul, are you holding the championship for me or Brock Lesnar? He said, because when I put my hand out, you did the right thing with the mic. But last night, he said, when I had my hand out, basically for the title, he said, you just tossed it in the ring instead of handing it to me. So he's like, so we work on that. And so he basically, he said, here, this is how it's supposed to be done. And he switched hands with the mic and hold his hand out. And Paul Heyman gives him the title. He said, see, that was pretty easy, right? And then he was like, you're not great at your job. You're not. But I'm like, dang. He told Paul he wasn't great at his job. And he said, you're not. He said, but you know who is? I am. And then he started basically going on about how he's the best, how he's the best of the best, how he runs WWE, he runs Smackdown, and that he got awkwardly, he kept saying how many people he smashed, which it was kind of funny because I was hoping somebody would come out and point that out, that he was like, that'd be like, that was a bad choice of words, but okay, it's 2021, everybody's free. Like if John Cena was there, he would have made fun of Roman for using for his choice of words. But yeah, he went on talking. He said the list is so long that we can't even go back to the beginning. So he starts at WrestleMania with his defeat when he defeated Daniel Bryan and Edge. He mentions John Cena, Brock Lesnar, and so many others, Cesaro, and so many others. And then that's where he was calling himself the best of the best. And then he said, then he was like, wait a minute, hold up. Brock tweeted something at the tribal chief. He made Paul Heyman read the tweet, which basically said that when he gets to Raw, he's going to beat Roman Reigns senseless. And Roman laughs and goes like this and flips Paul Heyman's phone out of his hand. And basically holds Raw. He holds SmackDown hostage, saying that he's not going anywhere. He's not leaving this ring. This segment is not ending until Brock Lesnar get out here and do what he do. The crowd was chanting for him. Sometimes he'll be like, yeah, I want Brock Lesnar too. I think he told the crowd to acknowledge him if they want to see him beat up Brock Lesnar. It takes a minute. I think we go on a commercial break, but then when we come back, Roman's still in the ring and said, yeah, I'll be scared too. Basically said Brock Lesnar is scared, and that he's so scared that Brock Lesnar is tweeting now. He said, and so basically he said that he did his obligation, he did what the champion's supposed to do. He said that he tells Paul to have somebody to go start the jet, but his sentence is interrupted by Brock Lesnar's music. So Brock Lesnar does come out. and they he basically walked slowly for a minute as they stayed in turn. Roman Reigns is getting himself ready with the title. Then Brock Lesnar charged the ring. Roman Reigns tried to hit him with the title, but misses, and then a brawl starts between the two, which ended up Brock Lesnar overpowering Roman Reigns. They went from both of them fighting each other to Brock Lesnar just basically beating the hell out of Roman Reigns like he promised. He almost tried to hit Roman with the camera, but then the Usos would come out and try to intervene, but they would get beat up. So then Adam has like a whole bunch of referees. They're trying to stop it. They try to break up the fight, but then Brock Lesnar beat some of them up. He beat some of them up and some officials. It was like some backstage officials and Pat and Michael Cole said that the person that guy that he threw over the table was a producer. And then Adam Pearce would have like the roster of new and old come out to try to separate the two. And Roman Reigns would then escape up the top of the ramp with Paul Heyman and the Usos, and that'll be the last time you see them. And Brock Lesnar basically standing tall in the ring with Roman Reigns' house, saying that he will be the next Universal champion. Roman, then the segment will come back because the segment is still not over. Adam Pearce is basically out there to announce that due to Brock Lesnar's actions and the people he endangered, I think he said he endangered like the WWE Universe and the WWE Universe, the producers and officials and the WWE and this fellow Smackdown WWE roster, along with the property damage. He announced that Brock Lesnar would be suspended indefinitely, but this would bring out Brock Lesnar, who was basically irate that Adam Pearce just suspended him. So he roughed Adam Pearce up by basically grabbing him tightly by his tie and shirt and stuff, and basically telling him to say it again because he couldn't hear it. Adam Pearce in a choking voice tells him he had no choice, and eventually repeats that he suspended Brock Lesnar indefinitely. To which Brock Lesnar does the okay, fine, you're right, maybe straighten your stuff out, cool, it's cool, and then he would proceed to give Adam Pearce an F5, which would split his pants, and then he would I guess the person who controls the music, he thought he must have been told that it was only supposed to be one time, so he hit Brock Lesnar's music. But then Brock Lesnar would do it again, which they had to immediately stop the music. He would F5 Adam Pearce again, and then they play his music. This connects to the first match, because this goes into backstage where Drew McIntyre basically introduces himself to Sonya Deville and tells her that he's going out to the ring to issue open challenge, and he basically doesn't care if she says yes or no about it. He yells at a couple of the people who was involved in separating Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns to get out the way, and he basically goes out to the ring and issues that open challenge to be answered by Sami Zayn, who has new music. It's like it starts out with his old music starts out, but then the old music dies out slowly, then it comes back on with the new music. But the match between Sami Zayn was cool. He ran his mouth at the beginning, saying he was the best superstar on SmackDown, that he's going to prove it by beating Drew McIntyre. But the match was cool. Sami Zayn did bring it to Drew McIntyre a little bit, but cockiness from Sami Zayn would cause him to get Claymore kick, and thus Drew McIntyre is your winner. I would say this was a good way. It was a good match. It was a good way to start SmackDown. That was a good way to start SmackDown. But we will move on to the King Xavier. I call it the King Xavier promo, which basically have Kofi introduced as like the King's coronation, the little coronation ceremony for Xavier Woods. So they have Kofi come out, basically introduce Xavier Woods, and you get the King's music with the Titantron Gold with King Xavier, and then the New Day music hits, and Xavier basically comes down to the ring, after interacting with the fans, and Kofi basically presents him. It starts presenting him with the different items of the King of the Ring clothes, basically giving him the cloak first, then the scepter, and then placing the crown on Xavier's head. And Xavier would then take the mic and then thank everybody, including Kofi and the WWE Universe, for helping him achieve his dreams and making his dreams come true. And that, but then he said, he says, guess what? While his reign will be fun, it will also be fair, and there will also be opportunity. He said he then tells Kofi to ring the King's Gospel, which basically I forgot what most of it said, but I know he kept in between what he would say. He kept saying, "All hail, King Xavier," and that ended up that broke out to a chant saying, "Hail, King Xavier, hail, King Xavier," and they would play the New Day's music, and then that would end the segment. The second match would be Mansoor versus Mustafa Ali, a Crown Jewel rematch from that Thursday, and it was pretty much what you expected it to be. Mansoor and Mustafa worked each other over, but it's basically. It was the problem only had it was basically just without certain things. There was just a rehash of last night, which saw Mansoor beating Mustafa Ali 2 nights in a row. But yeah, it seemed like they're giving Mansoor a push. But the match kind of, to me, let me know in the comments down below if you thought differently. But to me, I feel like that match pretty much was it really was a rehash. We got the same winner. Saying everything except for 2 things. Mustafa Ali didn't beat up Mansoor at the end of the match because he was embarrassed that he lost again, and we didn't have that dude from Saudi Arabia to come out and beat up Mustafa Ali. So without them 2, it was still virtually the same match we got at Crown Jewel. We got a vignette. Next we would get a vignette for a Hit Row telling us that they will be up next. And that's what we got. We got the third match, which was Hit Row. Before I get to who those versus, they did like an opening promo, basically introducing themselves to the crowd and the fans of the main roster shows. Because some people who watch some people, not all, but some people who watch Raw and SmackDown don't watch NXT. Cause I used to be one of those people. I used to not watch NXT all like that. I watch NXT, but I used to not watch it like frequently with Raw and SmackDown. I used to just watch Raw and SmackDown and sometimes watch NXT. But they will introduce themselves one by one to the main roster crowd and people watching at home. And then we'll get Hit Row versus enhancement talents. They were just local enhancement talents. And pretty much that's what this match was. It was an enhancement match because Hit Row pretty much just dominated the whole match and ended up beating them in like a minute or 2. But yeah, it was Hit Row, Swerve, and Top Dollar in a traditional 2-on-2 tag match. And yeah, that's who ended up winning the match, Hit Row. I do want to add though, I never noticed it because I watched NXT and I watched SmackDown. I just not noticing that Hit Row's style, the way how they style the Titantron style Hit Row, and the way how they say they like Hit Row, and all that type of stuff, and the colors they use. I didn't realize it till then that this is a nod to Saints Row because the color they chose as for the Hit Row, the way how they stylized Hit Row, and the color they chose for their background is purple, and they stylized Hit Row the same way Saints Row used to be, the original, not the new way how. Not the new Saints Row video game that's coming out, but how the original Saints Row games, like from part 1 to part 4, how they would stylize Saints Row. That's how they stylized their name, Hit Row. I was like, so this was all this was a nod to Saints Row. So I'm like, that's kind of cool. But Moving on, we get the next match of Shinsuke Nakamura versus Happy Corbin and Baron Corbin. This match was a good match. It ended up it ended up having like a swerve winner. I didn't expect him to win, but after some distraction from Brick Bulls and then eventually Madcap, Baron Corbin would get the win. He would hit the end of days on Shinsuke Nakamura, earning himself a future Intercontinental Championship match. We would then get the main event segment, which would be Becky versus Charlotte for the it would be Becky versus I said Becky versus Charlotte. I forgot that just to back for a minute. I forgot that during that segment with Drew McIntyre and Sonya Deville, Naomi would confront Sonya about wanting another match of Flair 1-on-1, and she basically told her that due to everything that was going on, she don't have time to beat her up, and basically schedule that match, and Naomi would just look at her angrily and walk away. It looked like they try to build back to Sonya Deville becoming a competitor again, which I'll be down for seeing. There was also like backstage promos with Becky and Charlotte both talked about tonight, with Becky saying that she wanted to be Becky 2 belts instead. Maybe she should be Becky 2 belts again instead of doing a title exchange. And then Charlotte was basically telling her to exchange the title. In Charlotte's promo, she basically tells Becky to exchange the title. Of course you don't want to give me the title. Maybe you should just give me the title like you always, just like how you all used to carry my bags. But that leads into this segment when Sonya introduces Becky and Charlotte, and she basically informs them why they're here and why they have to do this, because both of them won their respective championship matches. Since that happened, since Charlotte is still won her match is still Raw Women's Champion, and Becky won her match is still SmackDown Women's Champion. But the fact that they've been traded to each other's shows, Becky's been traded to Raw, and Charlotte been traded to SmackDown. They cannot keep their respectful titles, so they had to hand it to them. I learned the benefits of doing a late video. I learned that this segment also, that was rumored, I don't know for sure, but it was rumored with reliable backstage sources. For what I'm hearing, that Charlotte went into business for herself. That's like the term they use in WWE, where somebody basically goes off script and does something that wasn't on script. And they said Charlotte went into business for herself, which was that when Sonya basically told them, okay, give each other the belts, Becky basically and them was relenting like they were supposed to, and Becky insists that Charlotte goes first, and this is how Charlotte goes into business for herself, according to the backstage rumor in the segment where after Charlotte takes off her belt to hand it to Becky, she goes like this to hand it to Becky, and when Becky reached for it, she reaches back. She was supposed to go back like this and then drop the belt. And they said that wasn't a part of the script. And they made her pick it up. And she basically handed it to Sonya Deville this time. And Sonya Deville Becky tried to take it from Sonya Deville. But then she like, no, give me your belt. Nah, give me your belt. And then Becky being mad, she like, oh, whatever, fine. She just take off her belt and toss it at Charlotte. Now, that wasn't supposed to be, according to the script, according to the rumor, thanks to started going on script. Becky, that wasn't what Becky did. What she was supposed to do like that. She wasn't supposed to just throw her belt that hard into. She wasn't supposed to throw her belt at all. She threw her belt super hard into Charlotte's chest, and it hit the ground. Charlotte just basically was like, "Oh, okay." So she picked up the SmackDown Women's Championship, while Becky took the Raw Women's Championship from Sonya, and then Sonya was like, no, hold on, you want to be Becky 2 belts, right? So let's be Becky. Why don't we do that right here, right now, tonight? Saying that she wants to have a match, and like before that could even get started, this would bring out Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks basically saying like, if you think you could come in here and just take over, then she called her a nasty little word, and told her that she must be crazy, and Charlotte would be like, this is a PG show. That's not a very nice thing to say. That was rude. But she said, she tossed her and was like, oh, you felt left out. That's why you mad. That's why you out here, because you felt left out. And Becky basically was like, she basically told so they're like, well, I will let you two guys take care of that, and I see one of you at Survivor Series, and she throws the mic down and leaves the ring. Apparently, and then like this would continue like the confrontation between Charlotte. I forgot what Charlotte said to Sasha. She said something. No, she said, "Do anybody even remember when you were champ?" Talking to her about how she was a SmackDown Women's Champion for long, and this would cause Sasha to basically hit blindside Charlotte and beat her up. And I think they were like fighting. Charlotte basically had to take off her little robe, and then Sasha tried to hit the bank statement on her, but I think then Charlotte like elbowed her, and I bet she rolled out the ring. Then she would hit the Meteora. Sasha would hit the Meteora on Charlotte, and then would stand tall in the ring. And apparently, it looks like it's gonna be Charlotte versus Sasha down the line. But that was it. That's how they ended the show. I really didn't have a problem with this show. This show, while short and sweet, introduced us to the new roster. Everything was cool. I don't think nothing was bad except for the Mustafa Ali versus Mansoor, which was just a rematch. Was a rematch from the previous night. It wasn't bad, but it was just boring because it was just a rehash. But other than that, I give this episode of SmackDown 9 big ups, just because it wasn't a bad show, wasn't the greatest show, but it wasn't a bad show, and it was just, and then that with that little rehash between Mansoor and Mustafa Ali, it was another reason why it wasn't the greatest show. But yeah, that's all I got. And if you enjoyed the show, let me know in the comments down below if you did or didn't enjoy the show. And if you enjoyed this review, hit that button right there in the upper right corner for all of my reviews, or all of my WWE reviews. And if you enjoyed the video so much you want to support the channel, then hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, become part of the tribe like so many people are doing, and hit that notification button so you don't miss when I drop a video. And as always, hit any one of these videos with more of my amazing content. But don't go nowhere. I got that Chucky review coming and some gameplay videos later on today. But peace out. See you in the next one.